Do you like old Pokemon games and get the urge to replay them but don't have the games? This is a common theme with the Pokemon community and is a massive reason why people use emulators. What an emulator is a software that emulates Pokemon games off of a ROM. A ROM is a read-only file that basically recreates a Pokemon game's cartridge on your computer, digitally. There's a lot of pros and cons and reasons that people use emulators, and that's what we'll be going over in this video. Let's start off by answering the title. Why do Pokemon players specifically do this? The biggest reason is that Nintendo makes the games hard to get. They've stopped pushing them out, and in recent years the resale value has gotten absolutely crazy, as shown in these screenshots. Another contributing factor to this is the out-of-date systems that they use, the DS and the 3DS, which are also not in production anymore. With how hard it is to play on original hardware, it brings up the question, why not just emulate? Short answer to this is there is no reason. Some people look down on it for being a form of piracy, and to each their own, but Nintendo has come out and said that they do not mind. I've most recently seen this discussed in this AlphaRad video. Next, we're going to discuss the pros and cons of using original hardware or emulation. Firstly, we're going to talk about the pros of emulation. One of the most beloved features of emulation is being able to speed up the game. Pokemon has so many gruesomely long animations and cutscenes, and people just love being able to speed through it. People use this to train their Pokemon, get encounters faster, go through cutscenes, all of the above. It's overall just an extremely useful tool, and it's amazing to have. Next, we have the ability to just grant yourself items. This is a must-have for the Nuzlocking community, as they give themselves rare candies so they don't have to spend time leveling up their Pokemon to the level cap. This saves a ton of time and overall makes the game more fluid and more fun to experience. Another thing you can do is get texture packs or upscale the graphics of Pokemon games to make them look amazing. On screen now is what these games can look like with just some simple texture packs. The Pokemon are so defined and smooth and clear, and it just brings a different vibe to the game that makes it feel so much more lively and amazing. Lastly, we have the biggest and the most obvious, the ROM hacks. These are hacks of Pokemon games that can make them harder or have more variety or overall just raise the experience of the player. I truly believe that there is something for everyone in ROM hacks and you can find something that you will enjoy. Some of the most popular ROM hacks are Blaze Black, Volt White, and Storm Silver. These are all difficulty type ROM hacks, and they give you a big variety of Pokemon. They make the battles just a lot tougher and really raise the skill ceiling for the games. Now that we've gone over some pros, we have to go over the cons, which there aren't many. The most annoying, and my personal least favorite, is all the corrupted save files. There's been many times where I've just lost my save file for no reason. This is really annoying for Pokemon games with how grindy they are and how long it takes to do everything. The next con is that authentic feeling you get from playing on the original hardware. Something about just holding a DS and playing a Pokemon game feels so much better than just playing on a keyboard or controller. There's no way to emulate the feelings that you get from playing on the original hardware. The last con is you won't get any of the internet access that the original games get. Things like trading or battling or just using the internet access at all is just not available for this. Next, we're going to get into the pros and cons for the original hardware, which is basically just going to be reiterating everything I just said. For the pros of using original hardware, we're going to have the stable save files that are coming with the cartridge or on the DS itself, and then we're going to have the authentic gameplay of using the DS, and we're going to have internet access with all the games we're playing. For our cons, we're not going to have speed ups to make the game faster. We're not going to have item cheats to help with rare candies or other items. We're not going to have the texture packs or upscaled graphics to make the game look any prettier, and we're not going to be able to play any of our ROM hacks. Now that we've gone through the pros and cons of using an emulator, we can go through what are the most popular and what are the best emulators on the market to use. We're going to do this in two sections, being the DS and the 3DS emulators. For the DS emulators, we have two, being Dasumi and Melon DS. These are very basic, simple, easy to use programs, and out of these two, I prefer Dasumi. I find it much cleaner and better to handle and having less issues with it. For the 3DS, we have an extremely clear-cut win being Citra. This emulator is amazing, and I would even go to say that it is the perfect 3DS emulator to use. It runs games amazingly, it's super basic, simple, easy to digest, and it even has built-in resource packs to upscale the game's graphics. There are plenty of videos on Citra on why it's so amazing, and I really recommend you go check them out. These are all great choices, but there's one that really reigns above them all. You can get the best of both worlds by putting a ROM on a modded system. This is by far my favorite way to play Pokemon games, and I really enjoy it. Lastly, we're going to go into a quick overview of everything we just talked about. Overall, I think either choice is a great way to play the game and is perfectly acceptable, depending on which one you want to do. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment the way you play, and subscribe for more videos in the future.